Alright then, gamers. Let's talk about what's going on here. We've got a studio update. It's going to be one of the final ones. The final one for Secrets of the Obscure. The Midnight King is releasing next week. And we've actually got some other stuff in there. This is a pretty epic patch, actually. More than expected, I think. We've got World versus World updates and kind of a bit of a roadmap on what's going on there. Even some really cool stuff for PvP. I bet you didn't see that one coming. I don't think anyone did. We've got all the usual stuff. You've got the final section of the map. That's going to be the meta event. All that kind of wonderful stuff as well. And even challenge modes for convergences. That's also another bit of a wild card. Bit of a thing that ArenaNet just kind of throwing in there. A little bonus meme going on here. But anyway, let's get down to business. Let's dive right into things. We have a lot of ground to cover today. From Guild Wars Soto to World vs. World to Player vs. Player and more. Oh my god. Let us dive right into it. So, first things first, we already knew this, of course, but May 21st, it is the final patch. Behold the excitement of this trailer. You know, I will briefly mention this, okay? Oh yeah, even I forgot there's a new Fractal because ArenaNet forgot. They didn't put it in the trailer. Also, oh yeah, Legendary Armor. ArenaNet also didn't put that in the trailer. I really wish they'd do a better job on this stuff, right? Because a lot of the kind of really exciting things about this patch just don't exist. They're not really shown here. But that's why we've got this blog post, guys. You know, we can read this blog post and find out about all of that. Yeah, we've got the Legendary Armor upgraded version, like with the new effects on it and stuff like that. You've got the new Fractal dropping as well. The challenge mode is coming out separately, just like Silent Surf as well. Couple of weeks later. But yeah, look, there you go. Look, Tier 2 Legendary Armor, new Fractal, the Lonely Tower. That's going to be a pretty interesting one, actually, with the Lonely Tower, by the way, because in theory, it might end up being a teaser of what's happening with the next expansion, which I kind of like that. I think that's actually a really cool thing they did with Silent Surf and, of course, with Sunqua Peak. So we actually get a little bit of insight on what's going on with that Fractal. Maybe. That's not guaranteed, obviously, but that might be something to watch out for. So that's pretty cool. You get your new Mastery as well. I'm sure it's going to be really exciting, maybe. New Ranger Pet as well. I actually like that they're adding new Ranger Pets too. I hope they try to make them good. Like, and I think they've been doing a decent job with this, right? Like, some of the new Ranger Pets have been seeing play, and they are trying to balance those out a little bit, so I think that's pretty good. Got your new Relics as well. Oh, do they show any of the Relics in the post? Oh, they actually don't. Well, I mean, look, I guess we'll find out about that pretty soon, but that would be pretty cool. I mean, I'm sure we'll get to it when we get to it. I do like this visual here of Epoch. Doesn't quite look like that. He's been skipping leg day a little bit in the actual gameplay here as well. And you know, one thing about this, if we could talk about the story here a little bit, it looks like, and maybe the twist is going to be incredibly hidden, but it actually looks like from this trailer here that we may not get backstabbed by the Cryptus. It looks like Pather might actually be a fully good character, we're going full hero mode to save the Cryptus from the evil tyrant of Epoch, which is almost a little bit disappointing to me, to be honest. Maybe there is going to be this secret twist right at the end, or maybe the twist is there is no twist. Who knows? But we'll see about that. Anyway, let's get into it. The final story chapters will bring the commander deep into the world of Naos, to the citadel of Zakharos, where the indomitable Midnight King himself rides. We've already got his relic. We're about to take his loot as well. These story chapters come with an expanding playable space in Inner Nurse and a climactic meta event chain. Now, I really hope they go hard on this meta event. Actually, I really do. I'm not expecting it to be Dragon's End, but I'm hoping for a little bit more. Because actually, one thing that ArenaNet need to show is that they can deliver interesting meta events in this new format, right? Because we know there's going to be meta events in expansions, because that's, you know, a big package. They drop it all in one. You've got the maps, all that kind of stuff. We haven't really seen this, to be honest, in the actual follow-up patches. The meta events have been very wishy-washy, lukewarm, in my opinion. And they've had some constraint there because they haven't had the entire map to work with. They've kind of had to put it together in that sense, where they had to like piece it together over time, and maybe that's a slight disadvantage of the new content delivery system that they're kind of going for here. But I really hope they go big on this and really show that they can actually do this, a climactic meta event chain. I want to see a big boss. I want to see mechanics. I want it to be a pretty long fight. Like, give us like 10 minutes. Like, I'm not saying it has to be as hard as Dragon's Den or anything like that, but, you know, give us something flashy, give us something big. I want some boss mechanics, right? I don't just want a boss that kind of like fires out some AoEs and like, oh, look how scary he is. Oh, like, no. Well, at least it's not a Wyvern, right? But, I want to see some actual proper mechanics, because that is something that ArenaNet need to prove here, in my opinion. They need to show that they can actually do this with this new format, yeah? That needs to happen. In addition, this release also includes The Lonely Tower, our latest Fractal dungeon, the second tier of the legendary Obsidian armor set, refreshed Wizard's Vault, rewards and challenges, and 6 new relics. We'll spend a few weeks monitoring the Fractal dungeon and balancing the encounter if needed, and then on June 4th, we'll introduce the Fractal's challenge. But yep, seems good. And on the Fractal here as well, actually, the Fractal is going to be interesting with this one. I don't think they're doing a silent serve. If I had to guess, I think it's going to be like Sunqua Peak, except a bit more streamlined. I'm not sure if they have the dev resources to do multiple bosses, like Nightmare Fractal or Shadow Observatory. It would be a really nice surprise if they could, and we actually had like multiple challenge mode encounters. That would be super cool. Would be nice. Don't think it's super likely though, so I'm expecting a dungeon experience with trash and roleplay events, and then a final encounter leading up to it as well. So I'm expecting it to function a little bit like Sunqua Peak, but who knows, maybe we'll be surprised, because I don't want to see the silent surf stuff. That was just weird, right? Like, it was just that weird, like, mini game thing going on there with like just a couple of mobs there. It doesn't really give you that Fractal experience that I think a lot of players are looking for, and I really hope they've learned from that. And hopefully it is more of a Fractal boss as well, rather than kind of a strike mission Fractal hybrid. I think there were some good things about Silent Surf's boss design, but not really the gameplay that Fractal players are looking for, in my opinion. And just some of the mechanics just were a little bit gimmicky, let's be honest, and that kind of stuff can get pretty frustrating. But anyway, we'll see. Now, this is where things get a little bit, we're going a little off script here. Speaking of challenge mode, we're excited to announce that the May 21st release will also introduce a challenge mode for the squad-based version of Convergences, and it's 5 legendary bosses. A 5th boss is incoming. You'll fight amped-up versions of each encounter while dealing with stricter resurrection rules. So, it probably means that you only get a certain number of lives, right? Because you know how you can revive, you can like infinitely revive by handing in essence. What they're going to be getting at here is that you can only do that, like, a couple of times. Maybe only one time. That would actually be pretty cool. Because it's relatively easy to die. Like, if you're not in an organized squad and you're not running like some kind of crazy, like really strong comp with like healers in each sub. I could see that being potentially punishing. For sure. You'll earn extra rewards for your efforts and achieving a gold ranked clear time on all 5 encounters. So it looks like they're taking the adventure system and kind of porting it over. That's actually kind of interesting. Will net you a new title to show off to your pals. We're also adding an in-game leaderboard for all 5 bosses. You can compete with your friends for the fastest clear time and bragging rights. This is very funny to me, actually, because this, like, man, so many of you lot are never even gonna, you don't even know this, right? You guys don't even know the story of Fractal leaderboards, do you? Oh, unbelievable. You're just clueless, aren't you? But a very long time ago, ArenaNet said they were going to add Fractal leaderboards. I think it's extremely funny that the first leaderboards for content like this to ever exist is actually going to end up on Convergences. Now, let's actually talk about this. I think the interesting thing here is not challenge mode Convergences, it's the fact that they actually did this whatsoever. Convergences, look, I'm not gonna bullshit. It's not my favorite content. I think they're very mediocre. It's kill a bunch of champions, run around and mow down trash mobs, and then at the end, there's a boss that does some AoEs and it will do some CC. Am I expecting them to have reworked them to make those bosses actually have mechanics and the champions actually do something, like to significantly mechanically rework Convergences? No, I'm not expecting that, to be honest. It's probably going to be more damage, more HP, probably a timer, like an enrage timer of some kind, is going to be added. to this stuff. And of course, you have this resurrection rule as well. Like, that's what you're going to be dealing with in these things. Is it going to be super difficult? Probably not. I mean, honestly, I really hope that it would be really cool if they actually did kind of a Ceres on this and tuned it really aggressively just for fun on like day one or something like that. Because, like, I think it would be really cool to try and go for this. I'll get all of this done day one, obviously. And we'll get a squad together and try and do it as quickly as possible and just, you know, completely crush it. It's time to bust out the heal scourges, guys. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. But I think the interesting thing here is that they're willing to kind of add leaderboards and challenges and gold, silver, bronze rewards for doing well in content. That's actually worth highlighting. That is not a very Guild Wars 2 thing. Bear in mind, guys, gold, silver, bronze participation in everywhere in the game means nothing. You can get gold participation by being AFK and like firing your sky scale or hitting a boss 3 times. The fact that they're willing to say, yeah, you're going to get a bit more loot if you actually put effort in and play well, that's exciting. I think this would be really cool if they did manage to somehow roll it out to Fractals. It'd be really cool if they did it on raids. I think strike missions is maybe more realistic. It's a controlled environment. I feel like strikes will be a place where they could do this pretty easily. Maybe, he says, not a Guild Wars 2 dev, but you know what I mean. That would actually be really cool because players do care about this, right? Like, for those who don't know, there's a website called Guild Wars 2 Wingman, which basically does this. It is a site that compiles logs, times, DPS numbers, right, for all bosses, and players really like this. Like, you know, hardcore players, they're really into this stuff. I think that's fun. And it's also a useful resource for players who want to learn. They go, ah, yeah, this is how much damage you can do on this fight. Ah, yeah, this is how much this benchmark translates into a real fight. It's pretty cool. Now, you wouldn't get that level of detail in-game, obviously, but it's a little fun thing they could do. Now, one thing that will be pretty epic, actually, and this will be really pushing it. I would love to see... this is kind of a system that Guild Wars 1 had, like seasonal best times for certain challenges, like elite missions and stuff like that. I would love to see something like this for meta events. Not necessarily tied to rewards because it's a bit hard to control that, and I think that could lead to some pretty negative interactions. But I think it would be really cool. Let's say you do a Dragon's End, and you kill the boss in, let's say, 15 minutes. And then at the end it says, hey, good job, you beat the event. It took you 15 minutes. The best time this season, like Wizard's Vault season, right, was 8 minutes, right? It took 8 minutes to kill this. And the reason why I think that will be cool is because it is going to make players kind of interested, like, oh, wow, we did this in 50 minutes or 10 minutes, and we could do it even faster. That's kind of interesting, right? Like, oh, yeah, that's kind of cool, right? And it might get players to kind of engage with the game systems and engage with the game mechanics. And that's why I think leaderboards like this and this is and kind of that type of system is really useful because it gives feedback to the player. One of the really big issues that Guild Wars 2 has, in my opinion, is that you don't get feedback on how well you're doing, especially in open world, but honestly anywhere, like even in stuff like strike missions and so on, you don't really get feedback on if you're doing well or not. And having stuff like leaderboards, it gives players an in-game reference on how well they're doing. And it can be in a really positive way because you can do group feedback rather than saying, hey, look at you, you did 1k DPS, buddy. It's like, how well did the group do? How well could we have done? I think systems like this are really powerful, actually. And that's what I find interesting about this. Like, am I expecting the CM convergence to be like giga hype? Probably not. But the idea here is very interesting. And I hope they don't just drop it. And they have some kind of way that they could translate it into other areas of the game as well, which I think is pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff, if you ask me. So, quality of life updates as well. Squad messages will now appear when hovering over commander icons in the menu, but that's actually really nice for PvE and World versus World, actually. Pretty cool stuff. We're introducing a nifty accessibility upgrade that allows players to customize the color and shape of the target and reticle using action cam mode. That's actually a really nice feature, to be honest, because the reticle is a bit scuffed. When you use it on the sky scale, it can be really annoying to actually aim, and I imagine that's, you know, that's obviously going to be similar for just simply using action cam normally. So you can have all these different settings here and all the different colors. That's actually really cool, to be honest. I like that. And, yeah, they talked about this a while back, right? Because this is about World versus World. You now get a free guild slot. I mean, that's just really good for me, because I'm always capped out on guilds, so I can have, like, a, you know, have an extra guild slot for a variety of things. Really nice feature, though, actually. It's a shame it's only one, almost, because, you know, you can never have too many guilds. But, I mean, I guess There would be a number where it would simply become excessive, obviously. Yeah. There it is. Action camera, guys. I love action. I love action camera. It feels very, very good. Fantastic stuff. Okay, next. It's happening. We're excited to announce that World Restructuring System will be moving into an always-on beta, beginning at reset on June 14th. Yep. There you go. It's finally happening. You know, this it's been a while in the works with a little bit of a bonus update here as well. Of course, not happening with the patch, but we're kind of learning about this now. Really cool, actually. I do think this system is an improvement to the current one. There's obviously some trade-offs with, like, the whole server identity thing, but let's be honest, server identity was basically dead anyway. With, like, the mega server stuff, so it's whatever. And I think this will improve the gameplay experience, and it also, I think, lays the foundations for some competitive infrastructure as well, which I think is very much lacking in World vs. World. I really hope that they actually do that eventually and don't just stop here. Like, you know, the nightmare, in my opinion, would essentially be them saying, right, that'll do it. We don't need to touch World vs. World ever again. That would not be good with that one, but let's say we'll see. Couple of bugs still left over, they're saying here, but they're going to fix them. Wow. Nice. You love to see it. We're going to hammer out the remaining Q bugs. Very good. Very nice. And hey, yeah, you can kind of have your server guild now as well with this guild, right? That 6th guild slot, boom. There you are. 500 players, make your own little mini server. Boom. We love to see it. To further mitigate the queue issue in the short term, we'll add an additional tier to both NA and EU, which will reduce the queue length for maps during prime time. As a note, the end of the final relinking period will be extended from May 31st to June 14th. You know, the funny thing about this is I feel like, especially if the game grows, they're going to need a system that does this automatically, right? So if there's a particular, like, intense period of playtime, like, for example, at the start of an expansion, they probably need a system that actually does this dynamically, well, I guess they could do it manually. That's what they kind of do now, right? But I think they even do, like, the relinks manually, which is kind of scuffed if you think about it. I think a big part of why they're trying to do world restructuring here is very much that they do want to make the system kind of run itself and adjust to player behavior and so on, which is definitely a really big upside of this. Like, having this matchmaking system that looks at player activity, looks at player play hours, right, and stuff like that, and tries to balance it. A really big advantage of that is that it allows a level of micromanagement programmatically that isn't really doable by a human. A human can't process all of that information, but of course code can. So stuff like this is like a really big advantage of this new system here, actually. We love to see it. Yep, guild membership, we already did that. We see that. An in-game timer under the name Next Team Creation Lockout in the guild panel to help communicate when changes to battle guilds will take effect. So in other words, select your guild or you're going to end up on the wrong team. Look at it. It's 11 hours. You know, don't miss out. Watch out for that one. To help memorialize worlds we've been battling over the past 12 years, you'll be able to don a new title to honor them. For example, Anvil Rock Veteran. I think the Maguma Veteran one, that's going to be fun. You know, maybe I'll just pick Maguma, even though I don't play on Maguma. That's content, right? These will be available as a free one-time purchase from Commander Warraiser in World vs. World. We recognize that the world you consider your true home may not be the world you currently reside on, so we're leaving it up to you to choose that title. That means the most you choose carefully. Good call. Maybe you should just be able to pick them all and just you know, pick whichever one you want, right? It'd be pretty funny. Be pretty funny stuff. Maguma has fallen. Yeah, Maguma. I mean, every server's falling, right? Like, every server is dead. The May 21st update also brings some quality of life and balance adjustments, largely in response to the feedback we've been monitoring since our last round of changes on April 16th. They nerfed defenders a lot, right? Like, and they're kind of buffing them up a little bit here as well to compensate for that, which makes sense, you know. I think that the changes are pretty damn aggressive, actually. Like, it was like a lot of changes in sequence. And also, the meta as it is right now is also impacting defendability. Like, right now, there's a lot of supports. I've actually heard that some teams are running, like, 3 supports per subgroup. And when you're running that many supports, not gonna lie, like, arrow carts aren't really doing anything. You can kind of have this giga blob that is just not touchable, right, by support, by any kind of damage right now. So, like, defending is definitely going to have a really tough time with that. right now, so it kind of makes sense. Like, that definitely sounds like a balance issue to me. If you're running 3 to 4 supports in each sub, that doesn't sound right. But yeah, we'll, you know, probably want to deal with that, ArenaNet. That will hopefully shake up the meta. And I think one thing that's also really worth noting here is that world restructuring, and this is why it is so important, by the way, to do competitive stuff. Do you know why defending sucks? Because nobody cares, right? It's like the 7 PPT nerds that are on your server who just, they're everywhere, they're scouting, right? They're being super aware. Meanwhile, half the server's going, ooga booga, let's go to River Spot and run into each other off respawn, right? Like, the player behavior is also a huge factor in balance it. That's why you need people to care about winning. And I think making it guild-oriented is a good step there. I think they need some kind of leaderboard system as well, that is saying how well teams are doing, right? More than just KD. There's got to probably be some like loot, rewards, titles attached to that. Kind of a little bit like the, you know, the system stuff as well. Like seasons almost, probably maybe not seasons, but a little bit like that, right? Stuff like that. They've got to do that because player behavior is also such an important part of balance in World versus World, and like how people interact with like attacking and defending and so on. The health bar from Objective Lords will now be displayed in the event UI, making their status much easier to track. That is actually really good. I like that a lot. That's a nifty little quality of life change. Click on the Lord's health from the event UI will make them your active target. Works for PvE events too. Yeah, everyone learned that from a Lara video. All this does is shows that well, I think Grouch wrote this, right? Yeah, Grouch watches Lara's videos. Good call. Siege destructors will now be unblockable. Now, you might look at this and go, this is kind of bullshit, there's no counterplay. But I actually don't agree with this because there is no counterplay to this, except for, like, you know, blowing up the person before they can get the throw off or CCing them. But here's the thing. Realistically, Siege disruptors were unusable versus any competent small to medium-sized group, because you could just permanently reflect, right? You got a couple of firebrands in there, mesmers, whatever, right? Like, there's no shot you're ever getting one of these things off unless the team is just completely incompetent. So this is actually, in my opinion, actually a pretty good change, I think, because it does actually make them usable, and it makes them more balanced as well. It's like, you can get it off reliably, but it doesn't immediately shut down all of the siege and make it worthless, right? Like, I think that this is, we're approaching like a better design, I think, of the siege disruptor, which I think is a good direction. We're increasing the base level and tier 3 supply capacities for keeps by 50, and increasing the amount of supply granted by the supply drop tactic by 100 to add some power back to defending. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's super impactful, to be honest. 50 supply, but I mean, you know, it's better than nothing. The Chilling Fog activator now heals allied players every few seconds for its duration, instead of chilling enemy players. This is very interesting, because it is hard for me to imagine this not being a pretty big nerf. Like, chill is really, really annoying, and being able to, like, mass apply it to everyone. I mean, even if the heal is really strong, which maybe it will, it'll like, you know, heal you for like 20% of your HP, like every couple of seconds or something like that. There's no way that this is actually going to be good. It's going to be, well, I mean, maybe I'll eat my words on that, but it's like, chill is very strong, and I think they just don't, they probably wanted to just get rid of it a little bit and like turn it into something else, I think, to, you know, make it a little bit less annoying. I guess the healer's more vibey. You think so? I mean, maybe. Yeah, maybe I'm just out of the loop. Like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I think it would need to be quite strong. Yeah, I guess if you're in like a really scrappy group, and you're just trying to put something together and you want to directly engage and actually fight, then getting healed up constantly by the fog is going to be pretty decent. And I guess maybe, you know, the chill just gets cleansed so easily now that it doesn't really do that much, where it gets converted, even worse, right? It gets converted even, which is, you know, is maybe not ideal there. We'll see. We'll definitely see how it works. We're also planning a round of World vs. World changes for the July 16th release, very far into the future, that focusing on scoring adjustments. Back in a few months, talk about those changes in more detail. Okay. All right, that's interesting. I mean, glad that they're not just dropping World vs. World after they're done with world restructuring, right? Again, the elephant in the room here is the competitive element. I want to hear about that. It is notably not being mentioned here. I really hope it's on their radar, but we'll see. And with that, we've gone through PvP. We've gone through World vs. World. Now we're on PvP. Now, this is actually, I think some of these changes are actually pretty cool. I like this, actually. On June 25, we'll be introducing some quality of life and rewards improvements in preparation for the start of the next ranked season on July 2nd. To add some new build options, we're adding 2 new amulets. Finally, you know, we spent years removing all the amulets, kind of destroying the game. We're adding a couple back in with Heretic, Power, Precision, Healing Power, and Ferocity. And Tyrant, Power, Condition Damage, Precision, and Toughness. Now, oh man, and you're adding Ogre and Tormenting Runes. Heretic is interesting. So, like, this is, you're going to have a power build with this, but instead of Vitality, basically, like, say, a Marauder Amulet or something like that, you're actually going to end up with some healing powers. This is kind of like a hybrid power build and support. You know, funnily enough, a stat like this would kind of be cool in PvE, actually. That would be pretty interesting if you had something like this in PvE that has all of the power stats and also healing power. Maybe you'd need boon duration as well, right? But that's for another thing. Another thing entirely. But yeah, that's cool. I like this. I like this a lot. I think the Tyrant Amulet, like Power, Condition Damage, Precision, and Toughness, this is a pretty interesting one. Like, I feel like off the top of my head, I'm not sure where this would go on certain builds, like where this would slot into on current builds. Like Tyrant, I feel like you could do Reaper with this, maybe. Although you really want Vitality on Necro, so it kind of reminds me of the old Mercenary Amulet, but that was Power, Condition Damage, Toughness, and Vitality. It was so good on Necro and Condirev for that reason. I don't know, maybe something like this could kind of, some of these builds kind of, you know, emerge there. I'm not sure exactly where some of this stuff would see play. But who knows? Who knows? But I like it. I do like that they're adding some of that stuff back for a bit more build creativity. Get some more options out. That's good. It's a good way to balance things, by the way. Dealing with amulets and stuff like runes, sigils, and relics, it's actually a very good way to balance the game. This is something that you see a lot in other games. Again, like, I played a lot of real-time strategy, and one of the key ways that you balance the game is not just by balancing the different factions in the game, it's actually by changing the map, right? Like, different maps are favorable for different factions, and this is kind of like the Guild Wars 2 equivalent for that, because you obviously have the map balance too, right? Some maps are, like, you know, really good for Necro, others not so good for Necro, and so on. Some maps are really good for Thief, and every map is really good for Thief. Classic. But yeah, this is a good way to balance the game, I think, is doing something like this. I think it's pretty cool. On the rewards front, our goal is to make Ascended Armor and weapons more accessible in PvP by increasing the number of Grandmaster marks, okay, that can be earned each season, and decreasing the number of Ascended Shards of Glory needed to purchase Ascended Armors and weapons. I mean, yeah, this is very straightforward buff. You know, the weird thing is, I feel like maybe this is just reward creep elsewhere in the game, and I guess that's kind of what's happened, right? Like, PvE rewards have definitely gone up, and so have World versus World rewards. I felt that the PvP ones were pretty decent, to be honest. I guess that comes from someone who farms daily ATs, so PvP rewards have always felt really good to me because I just, you know, I farm, like, Gatekeep AT, which is some of the sickest gold in the game, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know, like, yeah, sure, why not? Sounds good to me. I got no problem with this. It seems like a pretty good idea to make it more attractive for players to maybe try it out to get some fat loot. Love to see it. We'll also be reintroducing raw trap potions. Yes! I love these things. And adding new sources for karma. Yeah, I guess you would be a little bit, I guess you would be a bit starved for karma if you only play PvP, actually, huh? I think it's not a super relevant resource in most game modes right now, but yeah, I mean, I guess you can, okay, yeah, whatever. Finally, like the prestigious colored titles we've added for World vs. World and Endgame PvE, we'll be updating the Champion Brawler for winning 10k rank games for a colored version. Oh man, it's one of the rarest titles in the game. You're about to get on into that and get ready to go. We love to see that. You know, one really nice thing that I would like to see here, actually quite a lot, is actually some changes to the monthly AT title. I think it would be really cool if you had a gold, silver, bronze for winning the monthly. Actually, because right now the monthly AT is very all or nothing. You either win and you get the gizmo and the title, or you basically get nothing. You get, essentially, to PvP players, prestige, like competitive players, you get literally no rewards for it, because nobody cares about gold, nobody cares about a mini. It's junk, right? I think something like that would be really cool, so that players would kind of have like a ladder to climb, right, in a sense, and like you can actually aim, like, you know, okay, I'm gonna get the bronze one, then I'm gonna go for the silver one, then we're going to get the gold one. Yeah, that'll be pretty cool there as well, in that regard. And actually, here is the daily AT change. This one is actually very base change here. We'll adjust the frequency of our daily ATs to consolidate teams into few events and increase competitiveness. Basically what they're saying here, look, one, daily ATs are so dead they actually don't start on off hours, and two, daily ATs are basically farmed by, well, honestly, they're farmed by all skill levels because they're good gold even if you can only make like the top 4, top 8-ish. But realistically, daily ATs are farm content. I have made thousands of gold, 500 owing peepos. It's brutal stuff, it really is. Gatekeep AT, my friends, massive gold per hour. Very nice. We'll also add a new weekly tournament on Sunday in each region that features increased rewards. This is actually an incredibly good change. One of the reasons why I think PvP competitively is so barren is because there is no intermediary, right? It's either daily AT, which people don't take super seriously, or monthly AT that people take pretty seriously, and it's very hard to practice for it, right? Like, there's not a lot of... Because ranked is a complete clown fiesta. In ranked, you're going to be queuing into silver players in platinum. You're going to have rank 1 on the leaderboard with silver players and gold players. Ranked is actually really hard to practice in my opinion. And automated tournaments are a bit of a mixed bag again because of, you know, the reasons I just mentioned. So this is actually really good. Like, this is, not gonna lie, it would have been good to have this years ago, because right now PvP is, look, guys, let me just put it like this. When Boyce isn't bothering to queue ranked and he's just 1v1ing Draza in the guild hall, when Boyce is saying PvP is dead, then, oh boy, it really ain't looking good, Chief. But this is good. This is, you know, I will give credit where it's due. I like this a lot. And I also really like this. This is pretty epic, actually. This is epic. Twice Tournament of Legends. Twice yearly Tournament of Legends. Very cool, actually. Like, they're adding something in between daily and monthly and something above the monthly, too. Again, where was this 3 years ago? Yeah. Whatever. Better late than never, right? You know, it's better late than never. We love to see it. Yeah. I mean, this is just... I have nothing else to say about this other than this is just the correct decision. This is how it always should have been. It should have been like this years ago. Really good. I hope it actually helps. I think it will. I think this will actually get... this will probably get some teams playing a little bit. I do. I do think so. And I respect that. So shout out to ArenaNet. Like, I hope they do some more stuff for PvP because it is actually quite good. If more people played it, it would, you know, it would be nice. We'll also address some long-standing feedback on the Jin's Dominion map in the July 16th update. We're making some improvements to the secondary map objective and the associated special action skills. Nice, let's go. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's... Yeah, Jin's Dominion is scuffed. Hopefully if they fix the bug where if you jump on mid, you don't cap it. That's a rough one. That map in general, honestly, I'm not really a big fan of it. Like, the issue with Jin's Dominion is that the kiting potential is quite bad, especially around the middle node. I actually think that it kind of needs to be remodeled a little bit, rather than anything else, because it is lacking some of the features that PvP maps in Guild Wars 2 have, in my opinion. It's not just the secondary objective, but it is what it is. Oh, look, there it is. Trig fixed it. Very nice. Very good. We love to see it. We absolutely love to see it. Oh, look at this. Very ominous picture of the formidable fortress that we're going to be attacking here, of course. Our next set of skills and balance updates will arrive on June 25th. Very cool. We're primarily focused on improving the usability of underpowered skills, utilities, and traits, and bringing in outlier builds where necessary. As usual, the skills and balance... Oh, yes! Let's go! Friday, May 24th, we're getting another water drinking stream. Let's go. Live on Twitch next Friday, May 24th at noon Pacific time to give a preview of the update. And the release notes preview will be on our live forums shortly after. We'll see you there. I mean, it's always a pleasure. Definitely, unironically, kind of a highlight, I think, of the Guild Wars 2 calendar is seeing our wonderful Trig, CMC, and Roy doing the balance stream. We absolutely love to see that. I think that's actually going to be just about it. Aren't you forgetting something? Oh, maybe we are. Guys, there's another expansion coming soon. Oh my god. Can you believe that? Get ready to buy it with my referral link. Ah! But anyway, we got some bonus events coming up as well, of course. We got Dragon Bash, PvP Conquer Season 42, Meaning of Life. Sunken Treasure Week? Dude, this was the most random thing they added with these little keys you get by killing Crate to go open the chest. A whole week dedicated to that? What is going on here? Like, this is... Wait, what is this? Dungeon Rush. Yo, Dungeon Rush. PvP Rush. Living World Season 3. I do like that they're kind of doing the Year of the Dragon infinitely now. It's just like rolling around, like, you know, you can go do that. That's pretty cool. And Festival of the Four Winds. July 30th to August 20th. You know what, guys? You know what's interesting about this? This date is a leak. Okay? That calendar ends. That means the next one starts. So, here's the reality. That means the next expansion could actually be releasing as early as the 27th of August. Seriously. Because we know they're doing this. We know they're doing a yearly release. Late August was about when when Soto dropped. It could be as soon as that. It's really not that far off. It could be a late or August or very early September release for the next expansion. And we're definitely going to be hearing about this soon because look what's going on here. Oh, right. What happens after the Midnight King? Well, you'll find out very soon, as it turns out. In the next few weeks, we'll post a development retrospective blog for Guild Wars 2 Soto that talks about what we learned from the process and how we're taking those lessons forward into our next expansion. Shortly after that, you'll get your first look at what the next expansion has to offer. Between that and everything we talked about, it's turning into a pretty exciting summer. Yeah, summer. Okay, yeah. So I think we are going to be looking at kind of a late August release, I think, is very likely, actually. Pretty interesting stuff. Pretty damn interesting stuff, guys. We'll see how that one turns out. So, yeah, stay tuned for all that. And actually, this sounds really cool, actually, the development retrospective. I think that's actually a really exciting thing. I think that's very cool. I like that a lot. It's funny. There's something in the water. Because why is everyone doing this now? Because... World of Warcraft basically did this. They said, oh, whoops, sorry guys, our last 2 expansions sucked, so we made Dragonflight. And now Guild Wars 2 is also doing this. I like this. There's something in the water right now when it comes to MMO developers that they're being very transparent. There's a lot of great communication here. With devs. This is going to be I think this is going to be a really exciting read, actually. I'm very curious to see what they make of it, and obviously we'll get some kind of internal insights there as well. This is very good. I like this. This is going to be a very good read, I think, and I really respect the fact that, essentially, let's be honest here, what are they going to say here? They're going to say, yeah, that didn't work out so hot, and yeah, this could be a little bit better. I really want to see them talk about how the fact that the expansion was not front-loaded at all. I actually got a lot of roast for this, by the way, guys. I said, guys, what am I doing day 2 of Soto? And people actually cyberbullied me for that. So, guys, I got cyberbullied for that quote. And then guess what? 6 months later, everyone was saying that, and I was right. GG. Yeah, there are definitely some things that I hope they've learned from how Soto went, because these patches, right, these patches that are coming out, they're kind of more content rich and more exciting. The last 2 previous updates, they were kind of more exciting than Soto release. That's a problem. When your expansion drops, it should be big. It should be exciting. You should have the new weapon to play around with, right? You should have a big new boss to go after, a really exciting meta event, and some, like, fat rewards. You should have, like, a legendary to go after on release, right? It shouldn't be wait 6 months to get a legendary. No. There's a lot of things that I think didn't go well with Soto whatsoever. And I think it's gonna be really interesting to see them go over that. I hope they agree with me. But I mean, who knows? Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. We shall see. Yeah. Very good. Weapon Master's social launch. Yeah. Where were the new weapons? That was 6 months later. That's not the same thing, is it? We've already had those weapons. Anyway. As a final note, I'd like to take a moment to extend a heartfelt congratulations to 4 remarkable individuals who've recently celebrated their 20-year anniversaries working at ArenaNet. That's a lot of Guild Wars. Tammy Foot. That's a good name. Aaron Cobley, art director. Andrew Frost. Wait, guys. Wait, no. It's not possible. It's not possible. Could it be? Frostball99 works at ArenaNet? No, he doesn't. And Matthew Medina, narrative designer. Thank you for your undying dedication, creativity, and passion. Here's to many more years of crafting incredible experiences together. And to our community, as always, thank you for your continued support. We'll see you in the game. Grouch, not an actual Grouch, Davis. Game director, Guild Wars 2 Oval. And look, hey, they really do watch my stream. I said their last roadmap was ugly as sin, and look at this, guys. They actually made a really pretty one. Look, I can understand where all the conspiracy theories come from, that, you know, like, I completely influenced the game, because look, I clearly do. Yeah, nice. I like it. I like the color scheme here, very nice. You know, we've got a picture of Dagda here as well. Oh, look, there's the Convergence boss, maybe, this Karka. That's why people think it was a Karka for the final boss. At least it's not another Wyvern, I guess, you know, but it's pretty good here, May 21st. You have all the new things coming in there as well. June. You can see it's June 4th and 14th. I like it, you know, color-coded there for the different dates there as well. It's good, it's good, it's good. Very nice, very nice. We have July. PvP, quality of life day. World versus World. Then Festival of the Four Winds. Wow. Variety of festivals. And yeah, we have the Lonely Tower. Fractal Challenge Mode. Cool stuff. Yeah, really cool bows, actually. A couple of surprises here, actually, kind of coming out of nowhere. I do like this. They are consistently making things about the game better, which, to be honest, is something that has been sorely lacking historically in Guild Wars 2 development. It's, yeah, we kind of, whoa! There's a very intimidating image of Epoch there. Terrifying stuff. Very cool stuff, yeah. I like this. This is a pretty cool patch, actually. I like this. A lot of good stuff going on. Of course, not all of it's happening on May 21st. Some of it is also going to be kind of rolling out over the next couple of weeks there, couple of months. Yeah, I like this. Definitely a big win, in my opinion, for the game. I have a terrible feeling that I was forgetting something. Oh no, it's over. I was going to say something. I was going to make an incredibly insightful comment, but I've forgotten. It's completely over. Pretty unfortunate stuff. Regardless, we shall see what is to come. The releases. The end of Secrets of the Obscure is finally over. That's going to be very interesting. Oh, yeah, I was actually going to... Yeah, I was going to mention this. Plenix in the chat was hoping that they do a little in-game trailer, kind of like a follow-on to the next expansion. That would be really cool. I'm not sure if they're going to do that, though, because the stories aren't going to be linked. I think it will just kind of tie itself up. I think the story's going to tie itself up quite neatly. And then we'll kind of go about our business. Pretty much. But that would be really cool. I love stuff like that. When they actually do a teaser for the next thing, like with the Heart of Thorns teaser that was after Living World Season 2. Some of that is insanely cool. Maybe we can see that. But we shall see, guys. We shall see what's going on. In-game trailer for the next strike. I mean, look, you know, maybe Epoch is a strike randomly. Yeah, that's definitely not happening. But yeah, very cool patch. Hope you guys enjoyed me reading this post to you. Okay, I know that all of you can't read, so that's why I'm here doing this public service. Let me know what you think about this. You know, do you think this is good? Do you think this is an abomination? I mean, yeah, it's really up to you, really. But yeah, leave a comment, like, subscribe. Follow on Twitch. Watch the stream on YouTube. Watch the stream on Twitch as well. Subscribe. Go on the Patreon. Go everywhere. I don't know. Buy the merch. There's a whole bunch of stuff you could do. You should do it now. You should get on with it. Yeah. Might as well do it. Let's go. Boom. Oh, I remembered. One more thing, actually, before I say goodbye to YouTube. People are going to be saying, why didn't they show Legendary Armor? And I think they should have shown Legendary Armor, but I do think they are going to do it separately. I think they're going to have a separate showcase of the Legendary Armor, probably coming later this week. And, well, you know, look, don't worry, I'll read that article for you as well. It would be cool if they did that for the Fractal. One of the things I really miss, actually, is back in the raid days, they would actually do, before they released a raid, they actually kind of did a little breakdown of some of the bosses. For example, they had a stream dedicated to Keep Construct and kind of breaking down, like, how its model worked and stuff like that. That was really cool. I would love to see more stuff like that regarding, well, anything really, but, you know, in this case, it could be the Fractal, like, you know, what, like, how it all fits together mechanically and stuff like that. That would actually be really cool. But maybe they'll do that. Anyway, that's it. I already scuffed this because I did my outro. Now I've got to do it again. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment. I'll see you next time, gamers. I'm out of here.